You know, it took a minute to get used to it because it sounded so much different than anything we had ever heard. For example, it was dry. The guitars didn't have tons of reverb, massive reverb like surf music did. They were just sort of in the room, present. And there were different kinds of guitars too. They weren't the Fender solid bodies. They were these like Gibson hollow bodies and Rickenbackers. So it took a minute to get used to the music, the way it sounded, because it was so foreign. But I think that the fact that it was so foreign made it unique enough to just take off and become the biggest thing in the world, of course. You know, they were able to back up their first album with many, many albums after that. And it didn't immediately influence us musically. It influenced us career-wise. It just kind of wiped us off the map, you know. It wasn't until they were around for a minute before we actually started getting musical influences from them, because they just flourished into this amazing, you know, Rubber Soul and Revolution. That's really what knocked our socks off more than Meet the Beatles. Meet the Beatles was like, that's very foreign and weird. But the following albums were the ones that really caught our ear, and you know, we took notice and it influenced our music. Oh, it was just so well produced, and the songs were so cool, and the fact that they were so different. And again, it was something that no one had ever heard before. The overall identifying sound was totally new and unique and good, of course. You know, so that combination. I think my philosophy is that a group of people getting together making music have a chemistry. And like example, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Rolling Stones, many, many, many others. And it doesn't happen with every group. But once in a while you'll get a combination of people with the right spiritual attitude, and they became one unit and produced this wonderful stuff that was an outside entity beyond the five guys. It created its own personality. The music is on its own, pretty much. You know, it's its own thing. It's its own entity. And you know, our influence was from many different sources. It wasn't just, you know, the Beatles when Rubber Soul came out. It was like our roots, blues, and all the old, you know, Chuck Berry and Little Richard and all that stuff. Bill Haley and the Comets. Richie Valens. It was a combination of all of those things.